Welcome, traveler. Tonight, we step beyond the skies, a realm where clouds breathe light and thunder speaks like eternity. This is the Thunder Realm of Zeus. For ages, people looked upward at storms. Some heard a warning in the thunder, others heard a promise, but always it carried mystery. What if thunder is more than sound? What if it is a message, a doorway, a call from the divine? Here, you will walk among glowing clouds. You will hear the world's heartbeat inside the rolling echoes. And you will meet Zeus, not only Lord of Lightning, but Guardian of Wisdom, Balance, and Renewal. So, close your eyes. Let the rumble guide you. Beyond the rain, beyond the night sky, a hidden path opens. It leads to the gates of Olympus. It leads to the realm where thunder lives. The night was quiet, a gentle silence resting upon the earth after a long summer's day. Far away, the sky began to stir, as if awakening from sleep. A single rumble traveled through the air, deep and low, like a distant voice calling. It was not frightening, it felt like meaning carried on sound. For the dreamer, lying awake, this was no ordinary storm. There had been storms before, rain against windows, flashes across the horizon. But this thunder carried intention, as if it sought to be heard. The sound pressed at the dreamer's thoughts, whispering softly, "Come closer." It hummed again, gentler still. Listen. Clouds gathered, not in anger, but like musicians tuning their instruments. The wind shifted, carrying a scent of change that filled the air. The dreamer sat upright, heart steady yet expectant. Why did each rumble feel like the opening of a hidden door? Through the window, the sky glowed silver around darkened clouds. Lightning flickered softly, not harsh, but like a lantern being lit. The dreamer closed their eyes and listened more deeply. The sound echoed not only above, but within, inside bones and breath. The storm was not outside anymore, it was part of the dreamer. A memory stirred. Stories of gods who spoke through storms. Zeus, the thunder bearer, whose voice was said to renew the world. Could this be his voice, reaching across time to call again? Another rumble came, closer, steady, like the beat of a heart. The air shifted warm, alive, filled with unseen power. The room dissolved, walls melting into mist, ceiling into sky. The bed beneath vanished into shadow, leaving only open air. The dreamer stood without ground, surrounded by towering clouds. Thunder rolled in every direction, like an endless living sea. At first, fear rose, but the storm held no hostility. Each flash and sound felt like invitation, not threat. The dreamer breathed in, tasting renewal carried by the storm. Lightning curved gracefully, forming symbols as if the sky was writing. The dreamer leaned forward, trying to read the glowing script. A single thunderclap struck clear, resonant, like a sacred bell. It rang with a message, and in its wake came words. One word only. Come. It was enough. The storm was no longer weather, it was a path. The dreamer felt a pull, gentle, yet irresistible. Feet lifted, body rising, light as air, carried upward. Clouds opened like gates, welcoming the traveler into their realm. The journey had begun, guided by the voice of thunder. Every heartbeat joined the rhythm of the storm's living music. The dreamer no longer felt separate, but part of its vast song. Through the mist, a golden glow appeared beyond the horizon. Not cold lightning, but a steady light, warm and eternal. Perhaps it was Olympus, the realm of thunder and wisdom. Perhaps it was the place spoken of only in myth. A place where Zeus reigns not in anger, but in balance. The dreamer inhaled deeply. The air charged, yet calm. The storm was no longer distant. It was a companion, a guide. One last rumble stretched across the sky, long and welcoming. It sounded less like warning, more like an open door. As the dreamer drifted deeper into the storm, clarity came. This was not the beginning of fear. This was the beginning of wonder. The call of the storm had been heard, and the path to the Thunder Realm was open. The dreamer rose higher, carried by unseen currents of wind and light. The world below dissolved into shadow, while the heavens opened wide above. Clouds gathered into pathways, curling into bridges, stairs, and gates of mist. They shifted and flowed, never solid, yet strong enough to guide each step. The air hummed softly, alive with energy, steady as a heartbeat. Every breath shimmered within the dreamer's chest, warm and electric. Was this only a vision, fragile as a dream? The higher they rose, the clearer everything became, bright and real. Thunder no longer echoed far away. It walked beside the dreamer. The clouds parted, revealing a vast plain glowing with silver light. Not harsh lightning, but a gentle radiance, endless and calm. Crossing this plain felt like walking across an ocean of mist. Each step left ripples of light spreading into the horizon. Even movement itself became part of the storm story. Above, golden threads drifted, weaving a tapestry across the sky. Each strand hummed a single note, forming a harmony of light. The dreamer listened, heart open to the living music of the realm. Far ahead, vast cloud towers rose like pillars into eternity. Each pillar glowed with shifting hues, blue, violet, and silver flame. Between them, pathways opened, leading deeper into the sky's domain. Every rumble beneath the feet whispered, "You belong here." A breeze swept across the plain, carrying voices like laughter. The dreamer turned and saw beings of radiant light approaching. They had no sharp form, only wings and eyes like stars. Messengers of the sky, guardians who danced along the wind. They circled gracefully, wordless yet filled with meaning and welcome. One drifted close, brushing the dreamer's hand with warmth, not burning, but soft, like sunlight moving through water. Though no words were spoken, the message was clear. Do not fear. You are welcome. The dreamer bowed in quiet thanks, heart steady, soul calm. The being of light swirled upward, guiding the way forward. Beyond the pillars, the path rose into a glowing stairway. Each step was outlined in silver, steady, and certain. The climb was gentle, urged onward by thunder's rhythm. Above, a golden glow burned brighter, the heart of the storm. This ascent was not a test of strength or conquest. It was a journey of listening, opening, and trust. Step by step, the dreamer climbed into harmony with the sky. Breath joined the music of wind. Heartbeat echoed thunder's song. At last, the stairway ended in a vast, smooth platform of cloud. Here the storm grew silent, full of presence, holding its breath. The dreamer stood at the edge, gazing at the golden veil. Beyond shimmered a realm not of mortals, but of gods. The storm no longer whispered, "Come." Instead, it spoke, "You are here." Wrapped in the storm's embrace, the dreamer stepped forward. The veil parted, opening into the threshold of the Thunder Realm. The journey across the clouds was complete. The dreamer stepped forward, guided by light, as the mists began to thin. Ahead, vast shapes emerged, rising from the sea of cloud. At first, they looked like mountains carved of mist and shadow, but as the dreamer drew closer, the shapes shimmered into focus. They were gates tall, radiant, woven of storm and starlight. Each pillar gleamed with gold, edged in silver, alive with flickers of lightning. The surface flowed like moving cloud, shifting yet eternal. Above, an arch curved high into the sky like a crown. This was no ordinary threshold. It pulsed with presence, alive as though it breathed. The dreamer felt it, a boundary between worlds. Behind lay the skies of cloud and storm, familiar and vast. Ahead shimmered something greater, veiled in golden brilliance. The realm of Olympus awaited. The dreamer's heart quickened, not in fear, but in awe. Stories of gods rose within memory, alive in this moment. The gates did not intimidate. They welcomed with steady light. Their glow was neither harsh nor blinding, but full of grace. The dreamer approached, each step echoing like a note of song. With every pace, the air grew warmer, alive with promise. The silence was not empty, it was listening. Then a sound emerged from within the gates. Not thunder, not wind, but a voice, deep yet kind, vast yet gentle, woven of many voices. Traveler, it said, clear and resonant, you have heard the call. You have followed the storm. The dreamer froze, humbled by the presence of the voice. It did not demand. It invited. It did not command. It welcomed. You stand before the gates of Olympus, it continued. Few have walked this far. Fewer still have listened as you have. The dreamer bowed their head. Words lost to silence. But the heart answered quietly. I am here. The gates shimmered brighter, lightning dancing like playful joy. The air vibrated softly, as if the realm itself smiled. Then another presence appeared. From the gates stepped a figure of light, tall, robed in shifting cloud, crowned with silver glow. Its eyes were calm, serene, like the quiet between storms. The guardian of the gates had come. It gazed at the dreamer without judgment. There was only compassion, curiosity, and quiet strength. To pass, the guardian said, you must answer with truth. The dreamer waited, senses alive, for the question. The guardian raised a hand, holding a spark of light. It floated outward, glowing softly before the dreamer. What do you seek in the realm of thunder? It asked. Power? Knowledge? Or something more? The dreamer stared at the spark, glowing with possibility. Within it lay reflections of their own heart. Memories rose of storms once feared and storms once admired. The storm was not destruction. It was balance, not chaos, but harmony. The dreamer lifted their gaze, voice steady. I seek not power or glory. I seek to understand. The spark pulsed brighter, as though agreeing. The guardian smiled faintly, lowering its hand. Then you are ready, it said. Step forward, and let the storm receive you. The gates glowed brighter, lightning parting like curtains of gold. The opening widened, soft and inviting as dawn. The guardian bowed with quiet respect, stepping aside. The dreamer breathed deeply, trembling, yet steady. The threshold waited, alive, with promise. One final rumble rolled across the sky, long and low. Not a warning, not a command, but a blessing. The sound carried one truth. The path is open. The dreamer stepped beneath the arch of living light. Behind lay the world of clouds. Before them, the realm of Olympus began. The dreamer stepped beyond the gates, into light so vast it washed the world clean. Every step carried them onto luminous ground, firm yet weightless beneath their feet. The realm of Olympus opened wide in radiance. Golden and silver pillars curved upward, alive like flame. Rivers of light flowed gently between them, winding like streams. The air shimmered with countless voices, harmonious and clear. It was as though the storm itself spoke through many tongues. Ahead stretched a vast circle carved into the glowing plain. The dreamer felt the heartbeat of the realm pulsing there. Within the circle stood thrones of cloud and flame. Upon them rested radiant figures, the council of the skies. They were not alike, yet together they formed harmony. One shone with the warmth of dawn, robed in golden light. Another glimmered with twilight's calm, indigo shadows trailing. A third glowed silver white, crowned with drifting stars. Others embodied the heavens, wind, rain, lightning, and cloud. At the circle's center burned a radiance greater than all. It was steady, bright, the presence of Zeus, Lord of Thunder. The dreamer bowed, heart pounding, soul trembling in awe. Yet no fear came, only stillness, like the eye of a storm. A strong, resonant voice arose. Traveler, said the council, there are many voices. One, you have crossed the storm. You have passed the gates. A softer voice followed, piercing like wind through branches. Tell us, what have you learned upon your journey? The dreamer lifted their gaze, memory returning like light. They remembered the storm's call, the cloud paths, the guardian's test. I have learned the storm is not only fury, they said. It is balance, rhythm, and song. It does not destroy, it reminds us of harmony. The council stirred, thunder echoing in murmurs of approval. One figure leaned forward, eyes glowing like morning stars. Many fear the storm. They see only flash and roar, but you have seen its heart. Another voice, deep as rolling thunder, spoke. To listen to the storm is to hear the sky." The dreamer bowed again, humbled by their words. Then Zeus himself spoke, vast and calm. His voice carried the certainty of clouds, the promise of rain. "Traveler, do you know why you were called here?" The dreamer hesitated, heart trembling. "I do not know, only that the storm would not let me go." Zeus's gaze shone like steady lightning. "You were called because the storm listens as well as speaks. It seeks those who will carry its truth back below." The council rose in unison, a circle of towering light. They lifted their hands, weaving patterns across the air. From their movements formed constellations of thunder and wind, birds, rivers, mountains, woven of lightning and mist, each one a story, each one a memory of the sky. "These are the songs of the heavens," they said. "They are not ours to keep, but to share." One constellation drifted downward, glowing softly. It hovered before the dreamer, warm and alive. "This is yours now," said the council. "Not a gift, but a trust. Carry it with humility." The dreamer held the constellation, its glow seeping within. It pulsed with the rhythm they had felt in the storm. Zeus's voice thundered softly once more. "Remember, to know the storm is to live in harmony. Do not seek to master it. Walk within it." The council's voices rose, a hymn of wind and rain. Constellations swirled above like a crown of light. The dreamer stood steady, no longer trembling. They understood. This journey was for all who had forgotten. Silence returned, leaving only the hum of light. The council of the skies waited, their gaze unwavering. The dreamer bowed, holding the constellation close, and one truth lingered. The journey had only begun. The council's light faded into threads of radiance, dissolving into the sky. The dreamer stood still, holding the constellation close, waiting for what would come next. A new path of silver and pale blue cloud unfurled before them, curving like a river through the air. The breeze carried sweetness, light and fragrant, unlike anything they had known. They followed, steady steps echoing softly, curiosity guiding them forward. The storm's rumble faded into silence, replaced by delicate whispers of wind. Soon, the path opened wide into a vast and wondrous expanse. It was a garden, endless, luminous, suspended in the boundless sky. Its trees shimmered like glass, trunks woven of flowing air itself, branches arched gracefully, each leaf carved of crystal breeze. When the wind stirred, the leaves did not rustle. They sang. Soft tones drifted outward, harmonies flowing gently into the soul. Flowers bloomed across the plain, petals woven from bright mist. Colors shifted endlessly, painted by light itself as they swayed. Each blossom released a stream of sparkling silver dust. The sparkles rose upward, floating toward unseen heavens. The dreamer stepped deeper, wonder blooming within their heart. Here, no thunder roared, no lightning cracked across the sky. Instead, joy lingered in the air. A peace, alive and flowing. The peace was not stillness. It was movement, dance, and rhythm. Every gust carried memory. Every breath whispered ancient stories. The dreamer closed their eyes, feeling the wind touch their skin. It was warm and cool, gentle yet strong. All at once, the breeze spoke without words, but its meaning was clear. Here is where the sky remembers. Shapes rose among the singing trees, forms of living wind. They moved like dancers, bodies translucent, swirling with grace. Their laughter echoed like chimes, free and unbound. One drifted closer, its eyes glowing softly like twin suns. It brushed the dreamer's shoulder, light as the touch of a feather. The dreamer felt no fear, only a deep sense of welcome. The being gestured gently, inviting them to walk further still. So they followed, guided by the graceful motion of the wind. At last, they reached the heart of the garden. There rose a great tree, vast and radiant, taller than all. Its trunk glowed blue, roots spread wide across the clouds. Branches wove an endless canopy, stretching to every horizon. Its leaves sang louder, forming a chorus of shimmering sound. At its base stood a circle of stones carved from living air. The wind beings gathered around, moving slowly with reverence. The dreamer knew instinctively. This was a place of memory, a sanctuary where the sky preserved its deepest truths. The wind stilled, and light poured down from the branches. It cascaded into shapes, weaving visions across the air. The dreamer watched storms long past flashing above dark seas. They saw gentle rains fall on thirsty earth, bringing life. They saw winds scatter seeds, birthing forests across mountains. They saw clouds drifting as shelter, shading the lands below. The sky had always given, always balanced, always watched. The dreamer's heart swelled with the understanding that grew within. The storm was not only force, it was memory itself. The wind was not only motion, it was wisdom unending. A voice rose softly among the wind beings. Traveler, the storm entrusted you with its song. Here, the winds entrust you with their memory. From the tree's roots, a soft breeze stirred and lifted. It carried a single petal of crystal, glowing pale silver. The petal drifted into the dreamer's waiting hands. It shimmered brightly, pulsing with the rhythm of centuries. The dreamer felt the breath of the sky within. The beings bowed, their forms dissolving back into the winds. The great tree hummed softly, its leaves glowing with song. The dreamer bowed too, humbled by the gift received. When they turned, the path had shifted once again. A golden trail of cloud curved outward from the garden's edge. It shimmered brightly, calling them onward into mystery. The wind whispered once more, wrapping them in gentle warmth. Carry our song, remember our dance. The sky walks with you. Holding the crystal petal close, the dreamer stepped forward. The garden of eternal winds faded into memory behind them. Ahead, the journey deepened into realms yet unseen. The dreamer followed the golden path that stretched outward from the garden. Clouds parted, revealing a shimmer far ahead, glowing like liquid silver. The breeze carried a new sound, gentle, rippling, and unending. As they drew closer, the shimmer widened, becoming a flowing river. It coursed not across land, but through the open sky itself. Its waters glowed faintly, colors shifting between dawn and dusk. The River of Echoes wound endlessly, weaving across the heavens. Its surface reflected stars, yet also memories long past. Each ripple carried whispers, voices rising softly from its depths. The dreamer paused, gazing in awe at its endless expanse. They heard laughter, faint and distant, like children playing. Then voices of sorrow drifted upward, gentle and aching. Every sound lingered, blending into the river's eternal song. It was not noise, but harmony, woven from memory itself. The dreamer knew this river held the voices of time. They knelt and touched its surface with trembling fingers. Light swirled outward as the water shifted and revealed visions. They saw villages at the foot of great mountains, people building, laughing, planting, and gathering in unity. Every face glowed briefly, moments preserved in the current. The vision shifted to sailors guiding ships by starlight, travelers crossing deserts, led by wind and burning Sunday, mothers singing lullabies, children drifting peacefully to sleep. The dreamer's breath caught as truth filled their heart. The river carried not only skies, but humanity's memory. Every voice that lived was woven into its song. A presence stirred within the current, rising from the flow. A figure emerged, fluid and shifting, like water itself. Its form was translucent, changing with each gentle ripple. Its voice echoed as though countless souls spoke at once. Traveler, you stand before the River of Echoes. Here flow the voices of all who came before you. The dreamer bowed, humbled before its vastness and depth. The figure drifted closer, shining like moonlight on waves. Each drop is a story, each current a song, it said. The dreamer looked into the river once again. This time, their reflection shimmered across the ripples. But it was not fixed. It shifted and multiplied endlessly. They saw themselves as a child, eyes lifted to clouds, as an elder, telling stories by firelight in the night, as countless forms, all woven together in one stream. The dreamer trembled, feeling the weight of all they saw. Every voice mattered. Every moment endured across time. Nothing was truly lost, only carried forward in the current. The figure's voice deepened, echoing through the vast river. "Do you hear them, traveler? These are the echoes. They are not shadows of the past, but living threads." The dreamer nodded, truth settling deep within their heart. Their hand dipped into the current, voices rising in song. One voice sang softly, ancient yet familiar. It was a lullaby, almost forgotten, now returning in light. The melody wrapped around them, filling their soul with warmth. Tears welled, not of sorrow, but of remembrance. The river shimmered brighter, alive with growing radiance. The figure raised its hands, lifting a glowing droplet. It hovered before the dreamer, shining pale blue. "This is yours," the figure said gently. "Not to keep, but to carry. A chosen echo." The droplet settled into the dreamer's waiting palm. Voices blended within songs, laughter, whispers in harmony. They closed their hand, and the echo sank within. It became part of them, pulsing with eternal rhythm. The river stilled, flowing in reverence and silence. The figure bowed and faded back into the current. Its voice lingered, carried by the endless waters. "Traveler, remember, voices endure when they are heard." The dreamer rose, holding the echo deep within. A new bridge of light arched gently across the river. They stepped forward, glancing back one final time. The river of echoes shimmered, endless and alive. It sang softly, a hymn of memory, unity, and time. The dreamer crossed, guided by the bridge of light. The song followed, fading slowly into the distance, and the journey carried them onward into realms unknown. The dreamer stepped from the bridge of light, leaving the river of echoes behind. Before them stretched a plain of silver mist, quiet and endless. Above, stars glimmered brighter than ever, suspended like lanterns in the void. The path dissolved into shadow, leaving only starlight to guide them. Mist curled upward, shaping itself into towering walls of crystal. The plain vanished, and a labyrinth of starlight surrounded them. They stepped forward, and the entrance faded into silence. Corridors stretched endlessly, glowing with faint shifting light. Each turn revealed new passages, alive and changing, like dreams. The walls began to hum with a soft resonance. Visions flickered faces, memories, moments from their own journey. The child who once gazed upward at storms appeared before them. The wanderer who stepped onto the cloud path shimmered in the walls. The labyrinth was made not only of stars, but of memory, laughter, silence, choices all woven into the shining corridors. Some paths glowed brighter, calling them forward with promise. Others dimmed, heavy with shadows of regret and doubt. The dreamer pressed onward, their hearts steady with courage. Chambers opened where constellations hovered in the air. The stars whispered like wind chimes, voices of courage and longing. They spoke of choices, of journeys yet to be made. The dreamer listened, carrying each whisper deep within. Then came narrow passages, dim and pressing close. Here, no light guided them, only trust in the unseen. The labyrinth whispered softly, "Not all paths are lit. Walk anyway." They pressed forward, guided only by faith and breath. At last, the corridors opened into a vast central chamber. A dome of infinite stars stretched above, shimmering in silence. In the center rose a pillar of crystal, clear as ice. Inside it glowed galaxies, constellations, and radiant shifting light. A voice filled the chamber. "Traveler, you walk your own soul." The lights traced their journey across the stars in brilliance. The storm, the gates, the winds, the echoes, all were shown. Then one radiant star pulsed, beating with their own heart. The labyrinth revealed not fate, but the light within. "Stars do not bind you," the voice whispered. "They remind you." The pillar opened, releasing a shard of glowing crystal. It drifted gently into the dreamer's waiting hands. Within, their reflection shimmered not past, but possibility. The labyrinth dissolved, walls fading into endless mist. The stars above shone brighter, infinite and eternal. A path of dawn-like light stretched out before them. The dreamer walked forward, carrying starlight in their hands. The labyrinth was gone, but its lesson remained forever. To walk among storms and stars was to walk within. The journey pressed onward, into realms still unseen. The dreamer followed the dawn-lit paths shimmering after the labyrinth. Each step carried them higher, into air glowing with golden warmth. The stars gave way to clouds, burning softly like living embers. A steady rhythm rose in the silence, hammers striking, deep and true. The path widened into a vast space of glowing stone mountains. Rivers of molten gold streamed like sunlight, flowing without end. At the center stood the forge, an anvil of divine fire. Its flames danced blue, white, and golden, brighter than any Sunday. The hammers rang, shaping not weapons, but destinies and dreams. Figures moved in the glow, artisans with starlit eyes. Others shifted like shadows, forms alive within the flames. Every strike sent sparks upward, birthing constellations in the sky. The bellows breathed winds that shaped mountains and oceans below. The dreamer watched in awe, afraid to break the rhythm. But one figure stepped forward, eyes molten like silver fire. "Traveler," it said, voice ringing like steel upon stone. "You have walked storms, councils, rivers, gardens, and stars. Now you stand at the forge where the future is shaped." The dreamer asked softly, "What is forged here?" The figure raised a hand toward the vast anvil. "Here, ideas take form. Strength becomes light. Dreams become paths. This is where Zeus tempered thunderbolts, where prayers became stars." The dreamer's eyes widened at the truth of creation. This forge held not war, but renewal and possibility. The figure guided them closer to the roaring fire. The heat was not pain, it melted fear and doubt away. "Each who arrives must forge what they carry within," it said. "Not for conquest, but for remembrance and light." The dreamer approached, heart racing with quiet wonder. The shard from the labyrinth glowed, lifting into the fire. The forge roared louder, artisans pausing to watch in silence. The crystal melted, reshaping into radiant flowing light. Visions filled their mind. Storms, rivers, stars, voices of memory. A shimmering hammer appeared, resting gently at their side. The dreamer struck once, the sound ringing like a bell. It carried truth across Olympus, pure and eternal. Another strike followed, then another, rhythm steady and sure. The crystal solidified, taking form upon the glowing anvil. What emerged was not a weapon, but a lantern of light. Its frame shimmered with starlight, fire burning softly within. The dreamer lifted it, warmth flowing through their soul. The figure bowed low, voice filled with reverence. "You have forged remembrance, a light to guide all travelers. Carry it, for even gods honor mortal sparks of creation." The forge quieted, hammers falling still for a breath. The artisans lifted their heads, eyes glowing like embers. They bowed in silence, then returned to their endless work. The dreamer turned, lantern glowing in their hands. The path ahead burned brighter, lit by the new flame. The forge roared again, hammers striking in eternal rhythm. Stars above flared, honoring the birth of new light. The traveler stepped onward, lantern guiding their way. The rhythm of the forge echoed in their heart forever. And the journey pressed deeper into the thunderous realm of Zeus. The dreamer followed the dawn-lit path, shimmering after the labyrinth. Each step carried them higher, into air glowing with golden warmth. The stars gave way to clouds burning softly like living embers. A steady rhythm rose in the silence, hammers striking, deep and true. The path widened into a vast space of glowing stone mountains. Rivers of molten gold streamed like sunlight, flowing without end. At the center stood the forge, an anvil of divine fire. Its flames danced blue, white, and golden, brighter than any Sunday. The hammers rang, shaping not weapons, but destinies and dreams. Figures moved in the glow, artisans with starlit eyes. Others shifted like shadows, forms alive within the flames. Every strike sent sparks upward, birthing constellations in the sky. The bellows breathed winds that shaped mountains and oceans below. The dreamer watched in awe, afraid to break the rhythm. But one figure stepped forward, eyes molten like silver fire. "Traveler," it said, voice ringing like steel upon stone, "you have walked storms, councils, rivers, gardens, and stars. Now you stand at the forge where the future is shaped." The dreamer asked softly, "What is forged here?" The figure raised a hand toward the vast anvil. "Here, ideas take form. Strength becomes light. Dreams become paths. This is where Zeus tempered thunderbolts, where prayers became stars." The dreamer's eyes widened at the truth of creation. This forge held not war, but renewal and possibility. The figure guided them closer to the roaring fire. The heat was not pain, it melted fear and doubt away. "Each who arrives must forge what they carry within," it said. "Not for conquest, but for remembrance and light." The dreamer approached, heart racing with quiet wonder. The shard from the labyrinth glowed, lifting into the fire. The forge roared louder, artisans pausing to watch in silence. The crystal melted, reshaping into radiant flowing light. Visions filled their mind, storms, rivers, stars, voices of memory. A shimmering hammer appeared, resting gently at their side. The dreamer struck once, the sound ringing like a bell. It carried truth across Olympus, pure and eternal. Another strike followed, then another, rhythm steady and sure. The crystal solidified, taking form upon the glowing anvil. What emerged was not a weapon, but a lantern of light. Its frame shimmered with starlight, fire burning softly within. The dreamer lifted it, warmth flowing through their soul. The figure bowed low, voice filled with reverence. "You have forged remembrance, a light to guide all travelers. Carry it, for even gods honor mortal sparks of creation." The forge quieted, hammers falling still for a breath. The artisans lifted their heads, eyes glowing like embers. They bowed in silence, then returned to their endless work. The dreamer turned, lantern glowing in their hands. The path ahead burned brighter, lit by the new flame. The forge roared again, hammers striking in eternal rhythm. Stars above flared, honoring the birth of new light. The travelers stepped onward, lantern guiding their way. The rhythm of the forge echoed in their heart forever, and the journey pressed deeper into the thunderous realm of Zeus. The dreamer carried the lantern higher, its glow steady against the restless sky. The path rose into silver stone, carved from hardened thunderclouds. Above, the heavens churned with light and roaring winds. This was no ordinary storm. It was the heart of the skies. Every breath tasted of electricity, sharp and alive. Before them rose a peak of fire and cloud, piercing eternity. Its summit flared with lightning, brighter than 1,000 suns. This was the summit of storms, the birthplace of thunder. Here, the dreamer knew, Zeus's presence was strongest. Each step grew heavier, winds pressing hard, testing resolve. But the lantern's glow shielded them. A steady rhythm of light. Voices stirred in the storm. Whispers carried on the wind. Some echoed doubt, shadows of journeys already past. Others spoke warmth, guiding the dreamer's steps higher. The storm was not speaking, it was reflecting their heart. Every fear and every hope rose with the thunder. Lightning struck ahead, shattering stone into sparks of fire. But each strike wove new bridges of radiant light. The dreamer crossed, lantern burning in harmony with the storm. At last, they reached the summit, vast and endless. Lightning spiraled above, weaving constellations of living fire. Thunder rolled in rhythm, deep and musical, not chaos. At the center stood an altar of luminous stone. Upon it rested a throne of cloud and flame, empty, yet alive. It glowed with timeless power. The dreamer knew Zeus lived not in form, but in the storm. The lantern pulsed, its flames stretching into the sky. The storm answered, swirling into a radiant shape. From light and thunder, a figure emerged, crowned in storms, eyes like burning skies, voice like the earth's core. The dreamer bowed low, reverence rising within. No fear remained, only awe before the living storm. Thunder spoke, "Traveler, you have crossed winds and echoes. You carry light, not for destruction, but to guide." The lantern flared brighter, flames dancing in answer. "Yes," rumbled the storm. "Thunder is not wrath, but renewal." Lightning spun faster, merging with the lantern's glow. Together they created light that touched every horizon. For a moment, the dreamer saw the world below, forests, seas, and mountains, bathed in the storm's radiance. Not harmed, but renewed, alive with balance and strength. The storm softened, folding back into the throne of clouds. Zeus's voice lingered, eternal yet gentle. Carry the storm within, not as power, but as harmony. Let thunder remind the world of balance and light. The dreamer bowed, lantern warm in their hands. The summit thundered once more, a farewell in sound. The path ahead opened, descending into mystery. The storm no longer loomed above it, lived within them. And so the journey pressed onward, deeper into Zeus's realm. The storm softened, thunder fading into a steady hum. The lantern glowed warmly, guiding the dreamer's steps. The path curved downward, carved from threads of light. The air grew calm, touched by colors never seen before. Here, night and day embraced in delicate harmony. Stars lingered, while the horizon blushed with morning hues. It was neither night nor day, it was both. This was the Veil of Dawn, the final threshold. Here, endings and beginnings became one. Silence deepened as the dreamer stepped forward. The storm's voice no longer followed. Stillness filled the air with sacred weight. Shapes appeared ahead, woven from memory itself. Not gods, not mortals, echoes of the journey. Each silhouette familiar, carrying a piece of the path. The river's echo glowed softly. The labyrinth's shard flickered like a star. The forge's artisans stood in quiet reverence. Even the storm's whispers gathered here. They did not block the way, but reminded the dreamer. Every step carried meaning. Every trial carried light. The lantern lifted high, shining across the veil. Figures shimmered brighter, merging into its flame. Nothing was lost. Everything was remembered. The dreamer's chest tightened with wonder. All they had carried now burned within the flame. At the heart of the veil, they paused. Light folded around them like flowing silk. Beyond lay only brilliance, pure and endless. A voice stirred, soft yet stronger than thunder. "Traveler," it said, "you have come far. You carried storms, echoes, and light. You faced doubt and remembered truth. Now you stand at the threshold of dawn." The dreamer whispered, "What lies beyond?" "Not ending, but return," the voice replied. "Not reward, but remembrance for all who walk with light." The lantern pulsed brighter in their hand. Warmth filled their chest, steady and certain. The veil was not a barrier, it was an opening. They stepped forward, and the veil rippled. Light folded aside like water touched by flame. Dawn spilled in waves of gold and rose. The dreamer felt weightless, carried by radiance. Storm, river, forge, all wove together in one song. Every trial was part of a greater whole. Figures of memory smiled, then dissolved into light. Not gone, but reborn within the flame. The lantern flared, joined by the dawn itself. Together they created light wide enough for eternity. The dreamer's steps grew steady and true. The veil opened fully. The sky grew brighter. The heart of Zeus's realm awaited beyond. Behind, the storm hummed farewell. Above, stars whispered their final glow. Ahead, dawn stretched infinite into mystery. And so the dreamer walked on, lantern high. The veil parted, and truth awaited. The dreamer stepped beyond the veil of dawn. Light stretched endless, filling every horizon with brilliance. From that brilliance rose a throne, immense and eternal. The throne of thunder, woven not of stone, but storm. Lightning arced in spirals. Clouds folded into living form. Winds howled in harmony, a rhythm like a great heart. The dreamer froze, lantern trembling in their hand. This was no mortal hall, but the pulse of creation itself. The throne shimmered with a glow, and a figure emerged. It was Zeus, crowned in lightning, clothed in cloud. His eyes blazed like dawn. His voice rolled like thunder. "Traveler," he said, storm and silence in one tone. "You have walked far through winds, echoes, and flame. You have carried light From the forge of the divine, you have stood where storms are born at the summit, and you cross the dawn where endings meet beginnings. Now you stand at the heart of thunder itself. The dreamer lowered the lantern, bowing deeply. Its flame was small, but it endured against the storm. Zeus's gaze fell upon it, his voice softening. This flame is truth, not for conquest, but remembrance. It was born of journey, and the journey is eternal. The throne pulsed with light, arcs of thunder rising higher. Zeus raised his hand, thunder rolling like a hymn. The skies quivered, stars above shivering in reverence. "Do you know why thunder roams the skies?" he asked. The dreamer shook their head, steady but curious. Zeus's smile shone like sun breaking through cloud. "It is not anger, though mortals often believe so. It is renewal's voice, a call for the world to awake. Lightning is not destruction, it is illumination." The dreamer felt the truth stir within their soul. The lantern glowed brighter, answering the rhythm of storm. Zeus's voice deepened, vast as the ocean of sky. "Traveler, you are no longer only witness. You are now part of the storm itself. You carry the balance of light and thunder." The dreamer trembled, filled not with fear but awe. The throne's storm flowed into the lantern's flame. Light and thunder merged into a single brilliance. Zeus stood tall, the storm folding into his form, his hands stretched out, vast yet gentle as rain. "Take this gift," he said, "the spark of thunder eternal." The dreamer lifted the lantern, and Zeus touched it. Light surged, flooding earth and sky with brilliance. The flame became more than flame, it became a star. The throne roared in harmony, not wrath, but song. Clouds spun wide, lightning danced across horizons. The world stirred, rivers shining, forests alive with breath. The dreamer's heart burned with warmth and renewal. It was no burden, but a gift alive and endless. They now carried storm and light within their being. Zeus's voice echoed one final time. "Thunder is memory. Lightning is guidance. Carry them, and mortals will walk paths lit by eternity." The storm folded inward, Zeus's form dissolving. The throne remained, vast and eternal, alive with light. But now it glowed, not above, but within the dreamer. The lantern burned steady, flame woven with thunder. Its glow reached out, a beacon across horizons. The dreamer bowed, heart full of reverence and peace. They turned, the path ahead stretching wide. The realm of Zeus neared its end, yet the thunder would echo within them forever. The throne whispered like distant rain. The dreamer walked onward, lantern high, carrying not just light, but the eternal harmony of the storm.